If you are new here, definitely subscribe, hit the bell so you can get notifications each and every time I upload a new video. And smash the like button. Smash the like button. Smash the like button. Smash the like button. Okay. I was having this conversation with this lady. And she was just kind of talking. We got to talking about kind of like relationships and divorce and, just kind of how like women are all across the board, across the states, across the world are all just kind of coming to this. A lot of us are coming to this kind of decision, about relationships and, stuff like that. By the end of the conversation, I had kind of, asked her, had she thought about polyamory, right? And not for the purpose of actually having to explore or expand into polyamory, but for the purpose of really just expanding your mindset, right? Like expanding your mind. Because brain chemistry works like you don't have to particularly experience a thing or do a thing in order for that expansion to actually work in your brain, kind of like a subconscious thing. So kind of like manifesting, it's like you don't have to actually experience something, but if you can conjure the feelings, then your brain won't know the difference. So that kind of brings me to the conversation. Like, listen, folks, with everybody kind of hoping for, desiring, and like aiming at the change of the system, how do you expect the system to change if you don't change, right? Not to say that, oh, you have to be in a polyamory. That's not what it's about. It's more about the ability to allow the mind to expand, right? So I'm not practicing polyamory or any additional relationship structures, but I did allow myself to like think about it, right? And think about it honestly and openly and allow myself to kind of explore how I felt about that concept all around, and even worked myself through the concepts, worked myself through negative feelings that I have about the dynamic. And although for me, like I've come to the same place that it's like, nah, I'm not, that's probably not the way for me, or I don't like, I haven't like gone that route, but it does allow me to open my mind and expand my mind in case there are other things that we have to open our minds and expand our minds about, right? Like sometimes our minds have to be expanded like so far, and if you can't even get past level 1, how you gonna get to level 10? Hi, how are you? So I wanted to kind of just offer that tidbit for the night. Not that you have to explore a concept that just is totally, but how can you really see change or seek change or get change out of life if you don't allow yourself to expand mentally and emotionally? Kalia Evans, welcome. I'm glad to hear that you're doing well. Thank you for tuning in. So I want everybody to just really start thinking about, like, if we do get to a place where we're like, okay, we're changing the system, what does that actually look like for you? What does changing the system actually look like? Does that just mean changing the power dynamics? Does that just mean changing the people that are in power? Does that mean changing the system completely? And if it does, you have to have an idea of what that's going to look like before that event even arrives. And I don't know that there's a lot of people that really have thought about how deep the system needs to change in order to be sustainable. So yeah, there's that. But at the same time, like, 'cause the thing about it is we're looking at patriarchy, we're looking at religion, we're looking at, marriage. male-female relationships, how we operate in the world, monogamy versus polyamory versus polygamy versus polygyny versus polyandry, all those options, right? But if we are going to really, really open ourselves up to a new way of living this life or living life, then we really have to consider what elements are going to be changing, you know? Give me a second. Let me go take the charger out so we can get out of here. Ah! Oh, I'm sorry. I dropped the phone. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna break my neck on this little thing here. It's ridiculous. There's a dip in the ground that's gonna. I almost passed out. Okay. Let's take a drive. Just around the corner. Not too far. Not too far at all. Oh, look at this. It's a nice little waterfall. Is that lit up every night? I never noticed. So, anyway, guys, if we're going to change the system, we have to be clear about how the fuck shit's going to change, And you can't ask for a whole group of people. You can't ask for people to change without having an understanding of what change looks like, what it will look like, what it will involve, what it will entail. As a leader, anyway, you have to kind of know what the hell that's all gonna, what is all gonna happen, what you're gonna do with it, And I just don't think that people have really considered that. It's almost as though, like, the way that it seems right now to me, it's like everybody just wants to rip Trump out of office and kill a couple of people who've been on the fucking Jeffrey Epstein files, and then I don't know, like put some laws back in place about male-female relationships, and then going back to the same stuff that we've been doing. But it's not really real change, So it just makes me wonder, like, what exactly is everybody trying to do, expecting, or like, what is the intended purpose? What is the intended outcome of all of this change talk and all of this desire for something different, for something new, or whatever? Like, what is the something new? Have you guys really thought about those things? Have you guys really considered what that looks like? And have you considered what it's going to take to actually get to that? Because I think it's going to take a lot more than people are considering, And it just kind of seems a little immature for people to just, how people complain about something that they have no intention of creating a solution for. It's just to complain, That's why I don't take people seriously when you're complaining about something that you're like not changing. It's like, what the fuck you want me to do about it? You know what I mean? Like, because I'm going to come with some solutions. I can give you some suggestions. But if you ain't going to do shit about it, what I'm supposed to do, So, and I know, I guess I should give a little grace with that. But I just want at least to offer the idea for people to consider. Because I do think that a lot of people are kind of, sometimes I think people do things or kind of want this massive shift and change, but they go into it haphazardly, not recognizing that it could have unintended negative impacts and it could really harm people, So you got to think about these things. I don't think a lot of people think about stuff like that. I think they just think about how they can, you know, how they can have power or how they can get power, and they don't think about what to do with the power, how to shift, and what you can actually change, what you can affect change on. It's kind of silly and immature how people think a lot. I don't know. So it makes me wonder, have you thought about what a new system actually would look like? Like, if we're talking about a new system, what kind of system? Because to me, a lot of the times what it sounds like is people are they just want to change a few little things in the current system, but they want the same system to operate. And a whole couple of groups of people should have a major problem with that. Mine specifically should have a problem with that. Because it doesn't serve everybody. The way it doesn't serve everybody the same across the board. So, yeah. Have you guys thought about that? Have people considered that? What's this all going to look like? Where are things going to go? So that's one little thing that I wanted to kind of chat about, really quickly. If you guys happen to catch this on the replay, don't forget to comment down below. And, let me know what you think. I am going to end this video now and then potentially start a new live, Or maybe I'll go do some tic-tacking.